At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, as you can see, we are celebrating the first 30 days of President Joseph Newman Boakai and his administration. It's been 30 days since, yes, it was inaugurated on June 22nd. Today is the 23rd. So we're celebrating 30 days, and that's a big deal. We're going to be looking at the accomplishments or what he has accomplished so far in the 30 days. We will also be looking at how you think the start is. What you think things are, and based on what has transpired so far, what do you see? Well, we're going to sort this all out, so I have some of the best minds here. Let me introduce Pastor S.T. Salif, who's joining us. He's a sustainable development coach. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jah.
Let me also welcome, so far, the only lady among us here, Glendy. That's G-Talk, Glendy Jane Jr. Welcome, Glendy.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Dennis. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you, Glendy. Let me also welcome the former TLA member, James Nanlaside, also former chairman of the board of directors, EULA. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. Glad to be here.
Let me welcome our UPP to CPP and back to UPP, Mr. J. Victor Nambi. Mr. Nambi, welcome.
You know what? Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here. And since you brought in the EULA, I might as well plug it in. My wife is the first female Secretary General of the Union. And now she's on her way to being elected on March 2nd as the Vice President of the Union. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Okay, good to hear.
I love you.
Let me welcome FOL political analyst, Mr. Mohammed Sharif, a product of Waplo Institute from Kanweken in Kalipo. Welcome, sir.
Dennis, it's great to be here.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Father Elijah B. Washington, sorry. Father Washington, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having Dennis. It's a great opportunity to be on the show again.
Last and definitely not the least is our man Abu Boakai Dukle, who's joining us from Canada. Welcome, sir. Unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. If you have not done so already, please share the show, invite a friend, and let's talk the first 30 days under President Joseph Newman Boakai. That's it, the first 30 days under President Joseph Newman Boakai. So we're going to start the show because going through the first 30 days, let's talk about the accomplishments. I told somebody, I said, there's no way somebody will go to work from in the morning to night and just say, I'm going to spot things, right? Things will be accomplished. So I want to go around the room, starting with Mr. Father Washington. Let's talk about the accomplishment. What do you think the administration has accomplished so far?
I don't know. That's a pretty difficult question. I don't know what they have accomplished. Anything, because based on what they aligned that they would do, I think they put themselves in a 100-day period. So looking at 30 days, there's no way that I can see based on what I'm saying to say they have accomplished anything. And I also think that even now I've accomplished anything because with looking at appointments they're making, they're trying to, in 30 days, they've not even finished their appointments. And some of the key positions like Minister of Justice have not even been confirmed yet.
Right.
These are things that for
Well,
me.
Elijah, he had made some appointment. That's an accomplishment.
No, that's not an accomplishment. Making an appointment is not an accomplishment. That's duty. That's something you're supposed to do. I mean, how are you going to work if you don't even make the appointment? So I don't see that's the accomplishment. So for me, yeah. So I mean, that I don't see anything that I will call an accomplishment at this time. That's nothing.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. James now, Lassa, on the accomplishments of the Boakai administration so far.
Dennis, I think it's promising. The president has performed impressively, not perfectly, not excellently, but very impressively. The president has done well by his appointment, the nature of his appointment, the formation, the structure, everything has been great. And if you give him time, I can tell you why I think so.
Yeah, no, so list the accomplishment. This is just the first one.
Oh, good. Well, then the president made his appointment, and no one will understand what he was doing. But he alone understood what he was doing. He came with the first lineup of top quality appointees. When many people thought he should have just gone with partisans and those of the alliance members being appointed, he didn't. And even it led to the point where Prince Johnson, for example, was complaining that.
So appointment and accomplishment. Let's go to the next one.
And what's the next one?
Any accomplishment else you want to mention? Because I want you to hit this thing.
Oh yeah, where his appointment, I'll go into detail later on. His appointment and his responsiveness to public perception. That is a very high index to look at here tonight as well. And the maturity, the professionalism and maturity involved in it.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Dukley. Accomplishment so far, 30 days.
I mean, I don't see any accomplishments that I can talk about other than just putting out nominees there to try to create a structure for his government. Nothing beyond that. And just because for the sake of our conversation, one would think of forming a government is something that we would expect from any incoming government. Even though there are some nominees that went through and there are some that are still pending and there are some that haven't even been appointed yet or nominated yet. So I would say there's nothing beyond just appointing or putting people forward.
All right. Let me bring about something, because this is a president who, when he was coming, people thought, he's sick. There are even people who said he's not going to go for his inaugural. He will have 6 months and he won't be inaugurated. In fact, because he's not well. Now he's strong, he's moving. I think that's an accomplishment in itself. Let me go to Glendy.
that's laughable.
So I actually listed what I consider as accomplishments. We actually have a president that is now going to work every day. He goes to the mansion. That's a huge accomplishment for me. We didn't see that in George Weah. So that's an amazing thing to see the president drive to work. We also see that civil servants did take pay, while there may be some ministries and agencies who are talking about the fact that they still have arrears, 4 months, 3 months of not getting paid. We see that for the most part, civil servants took pay for January. We also see that he's still shipping his cabinet and shipping other areas. At least I would say maybe by 60%, forming his, while there may be some key positions that have not been filled, he has been able to nominate people, appoint people. They've been commissioned and confirmed and commissioned. That's an accomplishment for me. Foreign minister also went to represent Liberia at a function. We come off the back of a government where our foreign minister we had in the past was not free to go to several places to represent our country. So for me, those are some of the accomplishments that I think this president have been able to overcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salif, we're talking accomplishment here.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ja. And so, while there's still so much to be done, I mean, the only accomplishment I can really point to is the commissioning of those already confirmed officials. I call those accomplishments, because I mean there's still a long way to go, but at least now we have some officials of government in positions who have full authority to operate in their offices. I thought in 30 days that was an accomplishment.
Thank you. J. Victor.
Yeah. Look, I know we're all being hard pressed here, but we got to give it to them. First of all, I think this government has managed not to get rattled. I think there has been quite, I would say, an unusual amount of criticism that has been thrown at this government in this first 30 days, and yet I think they have maintained their composure. No one is in jail. I think that in itself is an accomplishment. I think bringing in HPX in this very, first 30 days, I think it also shows that there is a commitment to job creation, no matter what comes of that trip or whatever it is. I think that in itself is an accomplishment as well. So I'll give that to them.
Mr. Sharif.
Yeah. So there are not many tangibles. And so you do have one small area. You have a flow of communication from the executive mansion through the press secretary, who is doing a terrific job of just updating, if you will, the Liberian people. But the bar under George Weah was so low, and so now we are sitting here saying that appointments are accomplishments, which is not yet complete. So I'm not going to call an unfinished product an accomplishment. I mean, Liberia has a lot. There's a lot to do, and this administration is sleepwalking into these 90 days, and I'm concerned about these hiccups and different things that the president, unforced errors that the president has forced upon his administration. Members of the president administration continues to commit unforced errors, and these are telltale signs of an administration that's forcing itself out of the door in 6 years if they're not careful.
Let's talk about accomplishment first. We'll come to that.
And then, if I may, I like to also let's not forget that they have also within, I think, the first 2 weeks, they have rolled out a roadmap for the first 100 days and beyond. And I keep reminding us, the previous government took way more than that. So I think that too is an accomplishment in itself.
Right. And let's look at the president has also talked about audit. He told his cabinet, he told people that, hey, you have to declare your asset. And I think the president has made some pronouncements that people were waiting for. And also, we were expecting, I believe he's not rattled, right? Because there has been a barrage of criticism. We also see that, hey, this is going to be Prince Johnson is going to control him. This person is going to control him. But from what we see so far, it's like he's man of his own. He's standing his ground. Don't you think, Mr. Sharif?
No, I mean, standing his ground, what do you mean? I mean, you saw the AFL wife situation where the AFL was able to force their way, and he capitulated to the AFL, which he's not supposed to do. It's very dangerous that he did that. And he also his administration has recently capitulated to a guy known as Prophet Key, and Prophet Key versus Julie Andy. So these are signs. These are very dangerous signs early on in this administration. How do you capitulate to a guy sitting in Morocco with a computer and a keyboard?
I have to disagree with you.
Hold on, James. Let Glendy go first.
You're blaming Joseph Boakai for Prophet Key, who has been in existence for 6 years under Weah government, and you're owning it to Prophet Key, or did you just hear about Prophet Key? Is that what you're trying to tell us? How is that Joseph Boakai's problem?
What I heard from the mouth of Bushu Ben Keita, who is the president's legal advisor, Bushu Ben Keita, called the judge to drop this case, Bushi Ben Keita. I want
That's
to
a
know.
hearsay.
I
That's a
want to know
hearsay from
out of his
Julie
own mouth.
Ennis.
Out of his own mouth. I
Isn't it
want to
just-
know. I want to ask. I would like to ask Mr. Bushi Ben Keita to show me his law professor, so I can speak to this law professor. That you've produced a bad student over here.
That's not true.
But you're
that's not
pivoting
you.
from what I specifically asked you. My question to you specifically was, why are you now taking Prophet Key's story to be owned by Joseph Boakai when Prophet Key has been in existence during weird time? The issue that Prophet Key is being sued about spins directly from during George Weah's era. So how is it now a Joe Boakai's problem?
What I said was the administration. I'll repeat, the administration acquiesced or capitulated to a guy sitting in Morocco with a computer and a keyboard. And how? So your question should have been how?
Dennis?
How did he do that?
So how,
The way
Mr.
he
Sharif? I
did-
want you to be quick on that.
I will be. The way he did that was this case was in a court of law. Liberia has three branches, watertight branches of government. So when you have the president's legal advisor calling the judge in the court to drop this case, that is interference into the judiciary, and Liberians should be outraged by that.
Mr. Sharif, before you come in, James, let me say one thing. Hold on. Mr. Sharif, Bushi Ben Keita being the president legal counsel can also work as a lawyer, right? So he can still operate his law office. He's not the justice minister. So whatever he does has a lawyer. Maybe Prophet Key hire him, right? So will you blame that on Joseph Boakai?
So this conflict of interest, the optic is terrible.
All right.
You are the president's advisor,
No, Dennis.
and you are interfering into the judiciary. He didn't say today when he had a press conference. He didn't say he was operating in his personal capacity. He said you can't come in our courtroom and bring such a case. And I want to ask Mr. Bushi Ben Keita, it is your courtroom, so it is also Julie Andy's courtroom. It is also Prophet Key's courtroom. It is my courtroom. Heck, it is all of us courtroom. So how dare you say that? Don't bring
Dennis,
this.
Dennis, I have to add here, man. I'm not a lawyer.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm not a lawyer, but look, this is just so bad for Bushi Ben Keita, who I don't know personally, but I know so well also. I'm not a lawyer, but the easy fact that is known here is that the prosecution of criminal matter is not the purview, absolutely, not the purview of any private citizen. Only government can sue for criminal matters, not private citizen. So if the government thought that they wouldn't win a case, it would be needed for them to pursue that case. And like he said, Judy Andy still has the right to pursue a case as a private citizen going after damages and things. But for the criminal prosecution, it was good reason why they capitulated, if you call it that. It's for good. We have to have leaders who listen and who respond to the feelings of their citizens. You understand me?
So who was the prosecutor for the government who dropped the case? Was it Bushi Ben Keita?
No, he wasn't.
Right. So so is the prosecutor who would do that, right? Not.
Yeah, from the explanation, it will be understandable that even the county attorney or whoever acting as the solicitor general would have gotten the message that the case should be dropped because there will be no merits. And Bushi Ben started the Sunshine, the Camara.
But the judge
come from Bushi Ben Keita, though.
There's no proof. There's no proof for that.
No. And when it comes from the judge, the judge will not petition himself or herself to drop a case. The judge wouldn't prosecute your case. It will be the government that will be prosecuting. The government lawyer that will be prosecuting such a case. If they thought that there will be no merits, and as true as there will be none, because he talked about the Mountaintop Act. The Sunshine Law.
Is that his place? That's my question. Is that?
I don't know that he said.
Let's go to Father Washington.
All right, but
and that's the point. And Sharif is making. That's interfering. Now he says he calls the solicitor asking whether he knew the law, and he said he did not know the law. So he told him this is the law. So based on what he said to him, made him to that change and do what was supposed to be done. So then the solicitor goes and tells Judy Andy The reason why I'm doing this is because he had called me. So she went and call, and she calls him back, and then he explains to her why is he interfering. That's the point Sherry is making. Why is he interfering?
How is that interfering?
But if someone doesn't know and they're seeking knowledge from someone else, how is that?
No, he's not seeking. He called him. He's not seeking knowledge from me.
So you just said here that he didn't know, and he called to ask. He didn't know the law.
That's why Keta said that he did not know. He said he called him.
Hold on, Benny.
He said he called him and asked him, why are you doing this? Do you know the law? The declaration, do you know the law? He said he did not know the law. So he explained to him what the law was. And based on his explanation to him, that's why he changed to drop the case against Prophet Key. So my point is, if he's a solicitor, he doesn't know the law. For you to bring the case in the first place.
Exactly. But that cannot be interfering.
Thank you. Let me give chance to Salif to weigh in on this one, and then we move
on. I'm not going to weigh in on the legal aspect of Prophet Keith and Julie Andy, but Brother Sheriff made two criticisms. One was the interference in the case, and another one that the president capitulated to the AFL wives, and I think. I want us to be slow in our criticism. What is the president supposed to do?
All right.
Is to listen to his citizens. The women came and they protested the first time quietly that this person you are appointing into this position, this is what he's done in the past. They flubbed them. They didn't listen to them. They still kept on going and going. The problem is African governments, they only respond to force. These people took all their time to do things the right way. The only time they were ready to listen to them was when they started the Black Rose, because that's what Liberian governments used to listen to. So I don't think it was a capitulation. The president had the right to call them and talk with them. And the president did not withdraw the nomination of General Prince C. Johnson. If he had withdrawn the nomination and he said the president capitulated, he did not withdraw. The Senate still confirmed him. And then when he himself saw the pressure, he decided to resign. How do we put that on the president as capitulate? If you were the president and a segment of your demography is protesting, you're not going to listen to them, then that's going to be a problem. So he didn't capitulate. He has
Dennis, Dennis, so real quick, I think I'll partially give you part of this, but at the same time, here's the situation. They quietly, as you stated, protested at the president's house. At the time, the president's house served as the executive mansion, as the office of the presidency. They quietly went over there, protested. No one looked at them. They went to Capitol Hill. No one looked at them. They went around town. No one looked at them. And so the protest then spread across the country. The president wasn't still listening until the top brass of the army says the junior officers are no longer listening to us. So the situation have blown out of proportion. The president understands. He was around, he has been around for a long time. You don't let that kind of frustration simmer into the army with guys with guns and stuff like that. That's when he came in. So the fact that he did not meet with the peaceful citizens at the time is a problem for me. The president's supposed to be a crisis manager. At the time, initially, he failed to solve this problem. I'm thinking, but wait a minute. Who am I looking at right here? Is this, the Joseph Boakai who we thought was a crisis manager? He was never a crisis manager in this situation. His secretary general went to a protester to his house. He probably pulled the curtain back, never listened to him. So we have situations. Here are women now protesting again, and no one is listening to them in the situation of Julie Andy. And I'm surprised that women of Liberia are not outraged as I'm outraged by this vile and very wicked manner in which this woman is being treated. And this administration is
but when Brother Sharif,
excuse me.
Brother Sharif, when it comes to
excuse me. And the president is capitulating to all of these vile and very wicked and diabolic situations.
Brother Sharif,
acceptable.
To be fair and equitable, the president was not to be blamed for the armed forces women. The Senate was to be blamed. When Beslo Yanti was called in for confirmation and she went in, they put a hold on her confirmation. It was postponed. Why? Because she went with her supporter. They took over the chambers. They sat in the seats of the senators, and they were forced to postpone her confirmation. When the armed forces women were protesting, Senator Dara Dillon also supposed to call his chamber and say, listen, with this going on, let's put a hold until we listen to these people's plight, and let's address it, and then we continue with. But it was a slap in the face of the women, so they just confirmed him while they were still protesting. So what did they have to do? They had to escalate their protest from county to county everywhere. And what happened? The government listened. The people have the right to protest. So when the president listens, it's not capitulation.
Thank you. Let me announce here is, if you are watching us and if you have not been getting notification, we want you to do this. Go on our page. You open a live video. Maybe that was live days or a few months or a few minutes ago. Tap on that video. You will see following or follow, and then you click that follow. And then select all live notification. That way, when we are live, you're going to get our notification. That's a way to benefit from all the rich programming that we do here. So now let's go to the first 30 days. We have gone through 30 days of Joseph Newman Boakai presidency. First of all, what you see here, I just want a yes or no. What you see for the first 30 days, was that something that you expected or least expected from President Boakai? Let me start with Glendy. Did you envisage things will go this way? For better or for worse?
I would say no. No for, I would have hoped that it would have been better.
Okay. Mr. Salif, your expectation going to these 30 days?
The first 30 days was a dismal performance. And if they continue this way, then we can see that it will be a disaster going forward.
Mr. Dukley?
I would say no. And, you know, I don't know why we are even discussing this to the length that we are. You can just see a pattern that is ongoing from Salif to Weah to Joseph Boakai. I mean, you know what? This is not going to be anything closer to what some of us that wanted to give the new government a chance to do what they said they would do. So it's a no for me.
Mr. Lassa?
I would say promising, Dennis. I would
say
say
but
promising.
What did you anticipate from these 30 days? Is that what you expected?
Yeah, that was, I would say, promising. 3 areas in which I think there have been letdowns will be his failure as of this time to appoint the ombudsman. To me, taking that action will be a serious demonstration of commitment to transparency and accountability, and his failure to publish his asset declaration. That is not encouraging. I couldn't understand those who were blaming and criticizing him for not declaring an asset when the law allows for 30 days. He did it within far less than that time frame. And then personally, I had expected that there would be a reasonable representation of progressives in the government. I'm getting to be afraid that there is some vested interest in that country that is against progressives. Only Alari Tokwa I can count as among the various appointments. That's not encouraging.
Who is Maplek Boto?
Well, maybe because I don't know her. I'm maybe a generation older than she is. I don't know her, but it's Alari.
So. And then Kofi Woods, right?
No. I won't put Kofi. Kofi is there because of his personal relationship with the president, and in a way, yeah, we're talking about core progressive people whose names, when you hear, you know that they only Alari now see this so far, and that's not encouraging. He has people like Yankwa Zizi, Chewan Gonglo. I mean, he has a whole lot of people there to appoint.
What about Anthony Kesley?
That's it. Anthony Kesley worked with the VP before, so that's what I'm saying.
So what does that mean? You remove him from the progressive community?
All right. So Victor, that's your turn now. So you.
Yeah. No. Look. I think it's a big no for me. I think this is not even close. I expected much better than what I'm seeing, and I'm befuddled. I'm really confused, and I'm shocked that this is what we're dealing with. Now we're talking about violating the Constitution. The legal advisor, my best friend, will come on the podium and speak the way he did today. And what is worrisome about it is that they continue to dig themselves in. They haven't realized. Yeah, they haven't realized the way they're going. They haven't realized the error of their ways. They continue to double down, and this is frightening. This is frightening.
Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, I mean, they have not met expectation. Long ways to go. I hope that this is just one-time hiccup, but there are warring signs.
Dr. Washington.
This is exactly what I said what happened is what is happening. This government was going to be incompetent. They were just going to be business as usual. They're going to recycle people who were looking for job after 6 years. And I see yesterday, I see the commissioner people in the East State. I don't know why we should be begging them to declare their assets. To be begging people, give them ultimatums. Say, hey, by this time I expect you to declare your assets. Shouldn't be begging them by this time. I go to work, I'm supposed to do my drug test, and my employer is saying, oh, can you bring me your result? They tell me what time to bring it. And that time I'm supposed to read. If I want to keep the job, that's what I do. I expect you at this time to be saying, hey, by Wednesday, all government officials, all appointed officials, declare your assets. Today, the president's legal advisor is making one statement. A few minutes after, on the executive mansion website, they are saying, "Oh, we're going to form a committee to look at the internal position." Didn't you look at it in the first place before you even started speaking about it? Before you even started making an appointment? That's also that it's just such a sign that they don't even know what they're doing. It's just incompetence. That's a sign of incompetence. They're not prepared, and that's what we say, and that's exactly what is happening.
I think given the 100 days roadmap that they give us, I will give them a little benefit of doubt. Now that they've done the first confirmation, I would have thought maybe in that same ceremony or the very next day, because if you look at the 100 days roadmap, at the bottom of it where they have integrity and audit, they are supposed to sign some integrity pledge and supposed to declare assets. So once they get confirmed, they should just go right ahead and do those things. Those shouldn't take any effort to do. So why are they dragging their feet on that?
Yeah. So let me say this.
I want Google to say something now.
It just it's very unfortunate that we came from George Weah's administration with the hype and all the misdeeds and all the things we saw happen during the Weah era, and to see this performance, even people would say 30 days is too early to pass judgment, but this just is an indication. I think it's logical to think that what's to come might even be worse, simply because some of the faux pas were just not things that you would expect from somebody as experienced as Joseph Boakai is, and for someone who has been an old hand in the business and all what he has done. So really, it doesn't. I think, I've said this on this program before. Until such time someone comes along that let us know that mediocre is mediocre, we should not accept half deeds, half truths to be normal. It's about time. Our country is old enough to be the shining example of that continent. But unfortunately, we are not seeing that from the successive government we've had since the overthrow of the TWP government. So this is what we are used to. And because what we are used to, we've come to normalize it as how things are supposed to be done. That's not how things are supposed to be done. So until such time that somebody gutsy come and say, you know what, it's about time that we bring about the changes that Liberia deserve. Dennis, if we sit here tonight and try to analyze Joseph Boakai government in the context of what we have, they've been dismal in every area you can think of. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not I'm not the doomsayer as people want to make it sound, but that's just the reality we're up against, Dennis.
Thank you. So let me start with Victor on this one. So based on the 30 days we're talking about, let's focus a little bit more on some of the let's say on the appointments, on policy decision and action that he has taken within the past 30 days.
Right.
His agenda, crisis management, when it comes to the famous answering the 2 a.m. call. Overall, how will you describe it? Is he up to a good start, a false start, unforced errors? Is he seizing the moment? Is it promising? Is it hopeful? Is this a breath of fresh air? Or is it too soon to tell?
You know what? I will go outside of that ring that you just drew, and I would say this government is beleaguered. I think they're on a siege. This government it seems to be drawn in each and
How do you
every.
determine that in just 30 days, Mr. Nabe?
Well, several examples have been given here, right? The females took to the streets, right, and forced this government to go in a direction that it had not intended to go, right? That's one count. We have seen the drama with the appointments. Some names are released, and then they are pulled and released again. Ministers are not vetted properly. I mean, the way they handle the whole armed forces thing. You're talking about a resignation of the defense minister in the first 30 days, right? So that happened, right? And now you have, the president is traveling out of the country. Nobody knows what's happening. Look, I'll give you an example. Today, the first cabinet meeting was held today. Now, your normal run-of-the-mill government will put out a readout on what was discussed in the cabinet meeting. But what did we hear? We are here talking about the legal counsel who came out of that meeting with the press secretary to step on the whole process. So I think this government's agenda is being hijacked. I don't think the government is driving its own agenda. And let's come back to the appointments. The appointments, yes, there is an agenda, but the appointments also tell the direction in which this president wants to go.
That's right.
But what is on this appointment that tells you this person's direction? What is it? The foreign minister is in place. The roadmap they put out, we pointed that out. You pointed that out the other day. There's only 2 lines on the paper for the foreign minister to accomplish: set up the inspector general and pay salaries.
That's just for the first 30 days. It's not
Right.
the entire.
So I'm saying to you,
days.
yeah, the first 30 days to me really, I can't point to anything that I mean, besides the little things that we enumerated, and people are already pointing out that we are setting the bar so low that even being able to accomplish an appointment is an achievement. I don't know, but I think so far it's not even too early for me to tell. I think this government is on a siege. I don't think they know where they're going. I don't think they have anywhere that they know they want to go because of the way they're going. They have had 30 days, and yet I can't tell you where they're going. I don't know what their focus is. I can't.
Let me ask Glendy. Maybe she can tell. Glendy, if we look at appointments, policy decision and actions, agenda, crisis management, and all that, right? Will you say they're up to a good start, false start? Too soon to tell? What do you think? Victor said beleaguered.
Oh, my brother. I would say it's too early to tell because I think they're still finding their footing. So there's no definitive policy that we can point to right now because I think it's scattered. So it would be hard to say, oh, they're looking to this area. At first, we thought they were looking at corruption and looking at audit. And then we haven't heard much about healthcare. So those things that are concerning to me and are important, we haven't seen. We also haven't seen whether they will have an upbeat foreign policy. So I think they're still finding their way. So I would say too early to tell right now.
But what have you seen so far? Because Glenny, let's say if you're building the road from Freeport to Semere in Douala, at the end of 1 month, where you're supposed to be, at least around Sayon Town, Jamaica Road,
Yes.
So where you think this administration, what have you seen so far? Because if they, for instance, no cars stuck in the mud for the first 100 days, so we've gone 30, what do you expect to see?
So I expect that the fact that they've put out the 100 days deliverables, that at the 100 days mark, they better have delivered some of these things that they've promised. Now, as far as what we've seen, if they're working towards it, like I say, I think it's all scattered because the government is not in fully effect yet with all of its participants. So it's going to be difficult to really narrow it down to say, what do I see? I see that they're still trying to put the government together. I see that at least there's some focus to ensuring that civil servants are paid, especially with the request for the $41 million to be able to pay salaries. I see that they're looking at that. So that could be a focus, that they're ensuring that they don't have any flop when it comes to civil servants, but they're still trying to find a footing. I don't think anyone can give a clear-cut thing and say this government is on par, this government is proceeding this way. I think they're just all over, they're scattered in different places. I will also commend, I forgot to mention the fact that Kula Fofana has been up to par with her promise, ensuring that they inform us every week of what is going on. But there's still more that they could have done that they have not done so far.
Sorry, Dennis. I just wanted to interject a point here. Glenda was talking about people being paid salary. This is one of the things I'm talking about when I talk about how dismal things are. Why is paying salary is such a big deal when you work? But because in our country, we have not come to accept being paid after every 90 days is normal. Well, it's not normal, and it shouldn't be normal. But that's where we are, because of the way our government functions, the way we have come to internalize. You don't expect to get paid after 30 days. Now that has become part of the reality of the civil servants of Liberia. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't have been like that to begin with. But that is part of the mediocre we have now accepted to be normal. So I mean, since when paying somebody who work? Since when that's an achievement? I mean, it's something that should be as normal as drinking water. But for you,
Mr. Brooklyn, my question is, when it comes to the appointments, the policy action, the agenda, crisis management, overall, will you say is up to a good start?
Absolutely not. Because, Dennis, people were talking about how the president capitulated to the emphasis wives, the unrest that went on. Well, this gentleman had this baggage before he was nominated. So this is something that he carried into that position. And that should have been vetted from the get-go before even he was confirmed in the Senate. But you see, it just goes to speak about how haphazard things are done in our country, and we'll come to accept all of it to be that's how things are done. No, things are not done that way. So when you have 100 day, look, the 100-day deliverable that they put out, I'm going to be on the record to say, if they are lucky to get 50% done, consider that as an achievement, because they're not going to go closer to 50% of their deliverables, simply because of what we have seen in the 30 days. I mean, it's an indication of what to come. I mean, if you haven't even confirmed your entire cabinet within 30 days, then when are you going to get them in place and try to implement the 100-day deliverables? But again, like I said, I'm always coming back to this place where the way we have been functioning from 19 whatever it is, the TWP party was ousted to date, tells me we're not going to get this right. I mean, at least I don't see it happening with Joseph Boakai government.
And let me remind us, the AFL wives, they're threatening to come back again. They came, they tested the system, they apologized, but now they say, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
we'll do it again," because the problem has never been addressed.
Mr. Lassa, again, you think they are within the first after 30 days? Is the government up to a good start, false start, unforced error, seizing the moment, promising, hopeful? Or you say it's too soon to tell?
Yeah, I want to say promising And there is an index that you left out that I would like to speak to a little bit. The government so far is proving to be a promise-keeping government, as manifested by the engagement of the president with members of various partners in the alliance, in the collaboration. That also points to the tedious nature involved in the appointments, involves consultation and carrying around and things like that. It's being faithful, it's honoring its commitment to partners in the collaboration in terms of the composition of the government. And that is a positive value. That's number one. And the other three areas, you talk about agenda, crisis management, and appointment. Now with agenda, for me, my eyes are focused on the 100-day deliverable with reference to the role, keeping the role passable, pliable. I think that is doable. I think the government is going to accomplish that, and that will stand out. Many people who are distracted and don't want to see anything good about this government being around pointing to the fact that when JMB said within 100 days the road will be passable, they try to change it around to me that the entire road system will be paved. That's not true. The Public Works Minister has spoken to this, JMB has spoken to that. They are going to make sure that wherever the cars are stuck normally during the rainy season, that is going to be avoided, is going to be worked on. I have complete faith in the government that they are going to do that, and it will be done. That's of course. Yeah, Dennis.
Yeah, before you get to my mother's town, there's a river there called Tru. The bridge is blown away. So I don't know if that will count to. So in 100 days, will car be able to reach my mom's town?
Major highways. It was qualified. Major highways.
God, but I take it.
Correct. He said major highways.
Within 100 days, no car will be stuck in the mud.
Yeah, on major highways. Of course, I don't expect you to go to my town in Banjul, and from Banjul to the next village where we have road and
not even 100 days.
Yeah, man, that is not realistic. Major highways, especially for the southeast, where people have to go, they have to pass through the Africa coast. When people stop going to passing through the Africa coast to go to the southeast, that will be an evidence of the fulfillment of that commitment. And I think that is doable.
So the major highway does not include the Ganta-Hapo Highway.
Of course, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The major highway through Nima going all the way down.
Okay. So we expect
yourself.
I expect that to be done. Let me just go through. So that is that with the agenda. In terms of the crisis management, I want to point to the AFL women stuff. Look, coming from, at least I used to be in the security sector. I served as chairman of national security when I was in the legislature. I was also an assistant director and all of that in the CID and things. I know what that means. That protest you saw over there was not just a protest, Dennis. A lot went into that. Organization, financing, facilitation, logistics. They had a group of women on the Bowman, going to other area, the Bowman Bridge area. They call themselves Grand Jida Women AFL Wives. Then way in Banga, they had another group of women there with their husbands, army men standing by, and no women block the road, and no one would do it because the men will come to defend them. And you had them spread all over. That must have taken a lot of planning and capital infusion, time, and facilitation. So to me, the best thing to do then was to put him to a test. If the defense minister said he was resigning, that would be a good idea. Let's see whether it will stop. If this is something that has an ulterior motive, it will continue. Other than that, it will stop. So now, when he resigned, it stopped. But if I'm hearing that they are going to resurrect that, then that will be pointing to something very serious in JMB, the committee. He shouldn't just come appoint a committee and leave it at that. We want to hear feedback, because I'm telling you, the money that will put in that thing to get people to eat, to buy gas, to transportation, to get them out and be there the whole day around the country, that's not anything easy. See, the CDC camp is frustrated, and they will use any means to try to express their grievances, and so that must not be overlooked. And I think
you were saying the program was
no, I'm not a institution. I'm not a institution, but I have to push back.
Hold on, Victor.
No.
Yeah, so the president handling of that crisis to me was good. It brought it under control. And the evidence of that is that the situation was brought under control. Now with the appointment of Dennis, this is where JMB proved to be a true leader. He emerged really victorious. For example, while forming a government, in fact, a day after he appointed a guy by the name of Sekou Hussein Dukle as managing director for NPA, and after appointing all of that, was the next day that Amara came up with quantification formulas of how a president is supposed to make an appoint certain people based on tribal lines and religious lines. I was so mad at Connie and disappointed. He would never be a leader in that country if he left with me, because that was dangerous. What? And then you have Prince Johnson coming to say, well, Nima gave the highest vote, so most of the people should come from Nima. That Boakai JMB wouldn't submit to that. And you had Yaka Koluba going around saying JMB should go to each county and they should conduct referendum, and the people should vote on who the nominee should be. Other than that, Boakai should not appoint. All of the fact that Boakai had not submitted to this, and all of these forces have been exposed as having short-sightedness in their own vision of how leadership is, tells you that JMB is on the right track, and he's a leader of vision and results.
Mr. Sharif.
Yep.
Same question. Up to a good start?
No, I mean they're not they're not up to a good start. One of the things, right? I'm sure James, Mr. Lassa was on here before the election. We had a common political adversary, and this was George Weah. We wanted to see the backs of that administration pretty quickly, and so we did our endorsements and whatnot. But some of us do these endorsements with expectations for better. So you don't do endorsement and say, okay, my person is there now, so whatever they do is okay. No, it's not okay with me. And what Jay Victor was saying is very concerning. So if you give into the AFL wives' demands late in the game, you have to think in that calculation that this is not over. These people know now that they can pressurize a president to let go his defense minister. Forget what the president was talking, the defense minister, that was off the discussion. That was well in the discussion. So that was well considered. So the president let go his defense minister under pressure. And believe me, these people, they know now that the president is weak or weaker than they thought. So they're going to come back again with some other demands. They're going to. This is the military. They did this in 1980 when the military saw that the president was weak. They did something that we didn't expect. And so this is the reason why I'm so disappointed that when these things start, you jump ahead of this. It started with, it didn't even start with Ellen. It started with one of the transitional presidents. This was resolved. Ellen Tom, they did it. She came out to meet them. She talked to them, and it was resolved. Even George Weah resolved these issues with the Army wives.
Mr. Sharif, those were band-aids, and that's why the issue keep coming up. But let me bring in another one.
Thank you.
But Dennis, here's the thing. What is not a band-aid in Liberia? Take any sector.
Yes.
And it's a band-aid.
Yes.
What Joseph Boakai just did,
yes,
it's another band-aid, and these people are going to come back again.
Yes. Yeah,
so
that's
that is the thing.
But let me bring in another factor here, and so that
I think there is an issue that.
Hold on, Victor. Somebody was looking at gender distribution, and this is it says for the ministry we have male 180 appointments, female 57. For the ministers we have 13 appointments that are male, female 4, deputy minister 31, female 19. Assistant minister 34 for male, female 15. Agency and you have 47 for male, 11 female. Security sector 16 male, 1 female. State-owned enterprises 7 female and 20 male. And local government 6 male and 1 female. So people are looking at this government critically, Mr. Washington.
For me, I'm a performance-based person. I don't I like results. So whatever is going to give me result, that's what I go in for. I don't go in for gender. I don't go in for ethnicity. I don't go in for nothing. What I go in for is performance. Things are done correctly. I give you a task, give you a time frame, give you terms of reference, and I want results. And that's what I expect this president to be doing. These are the kind of things that I want. We go 1 month. Money was allocated for inauguration. We stay having her back. What happened? How it was spent? What's audit done? Nothing. Monies were given for to districts to have some party for the people. Up to now, no nothing, no times of reference, no other nothing. We haven't got any results. These are the things that I'm talking about. If you want to lead, tell people what to do, give them time frame, wait for results. And if you don't do it, take action. When people begin to see that you're taking action, but everything just keep going, the slow pace. They say something, you say something, and then nothing happens. And then we pass, and go to the next one. And he says something, nothing. I listened the other day, so we want to see action. Say action about these things. Don't just let them go. And don't let it just go. Take action. That's for me. So for me, it's not just whether it's 5 women working here, or 4 women working here, 3 women here, too many. For me, that's not the point. My point is, if there are 15 women going to work one place and we're going to have results, they're going to be performance. That is what I'm looking for. I'm going to quantify it. I'm going to look at it. Give you mandate, give you time frame to make sure. I've seen one of the good things I like about this happening now. I see few individuals in this government who are galvanized, who have the mojo, they want to do the best. They're going to their agency, their ministry, and they're trying to move people, move things around. That's what I want to see. So there are individuals, yes, who you can already begin to see that they're serious about this, for things to work, they begin to work in their own institution. And that's why, but the government as a whole, I think they stay dragging their feet in. And for me, I'm not disappointed, but that's what I anticipated will happen.
Mr. Salib, is this a letdown? Well, Mr. Salib, let me ask you this, right? Because Washington raised something very important, that we have not seen some action so far. The inaugural committee, there was something that they had, Madam Miata family had a press conference, said this is what's going on. You had the money that was supposed to go to, I think nothing reached to Dudwekan, I can guarantee you that. So far there's nothing. We don't know whether he's investigating. Now there was a story about someone withdrawing somebody's name from the list and putting their preferred person's name. So there's no investigation so far, nobody's getting fired. And still the president is saying, hey, this is there's no business as usual. 30 days now. Should we still be trusting his words? Unmute yourself, please.
Sorry. We into development, and we discuss or describe or judge development based on indicators. And looking at this administration in 30 days, the performance indicators tells me something completely different. In spite of all the promises they made during campaign and the 100 days deliverables, when we match that with their performance indicators, I mean, it's really mind-boggling. It's dismal. I mean, everything, like I often say and will always say, every political party is a government in waiting. So when you go in for elections, you already should have your plans from that night or from that day that the losing candidate placed that call to concede the elections. You already should have had your team in place. I mean, I saw the JMB administration, all they were concerned about was the transitional team, the transitional. They should have had a vetting team. We all work in different places, and these places will work when you go for interview or whatever. They bring in different people and they talk to them, they interview them, and they choose the best candidates. All that I'm seeing with this administration right now, they don't have a vetting team in place. So it's like anybody can just throw a name. They just throw names and they just overwhelm the system, inundate the system with all kinds of names. They send a name, they withdraw a name. Even during the inauguration, all that money that was spent, it was a failure because even the microphones were not working. Most of the time, the microphones were not working. Things just were not properly done. There's no accountability. And up to this point, I think JMB has to take a step back and look at his advisors, look at his team, people around him, and let them come to the table. I mean, there's just so much confusion. I think it's at the Ministry of Health that I'm hearing the president submitted a name, somebody who who got training in public administration. He's been working there. His Minister of State which submitted another name. So there's already a confusion in that area right now. President traveling, nobody knows in the country. Vice President traveling on private jet to Nigeria, to Casablanca. Nobody knows about it. You say you went for work. If you talk about president going on a working visit, that word working visit means you're going with your office. So where were the office staff? Where were the press secretary? Where are the photos from the meeting? What were discussed? Who did he meet with? I got pictures. I got photos. I lived in Nigeria for 15 years. So Port Harcourt, Bayelsa, those are my towns. And where the vice president went, he did not even go meet his counterpart, the vice president in Nigeria. He went to a friend, a governor in Bayelsa State, who was being inaugurated for a second term. That's where he went. And the Liberians living in that state, I can send you all the photos while we talk. They dressed up, they printed banners, everything they took there to hype him up. He did not even meet with them to talk to them because he was rushing to go to Casablanca, whereas there were African heads of state meeting going on. AU head of state meeting going on. The president is incognito. The vice president is not there. You go to Ghana, the Ghanaian president is flying out to go for the meeting that you should be in. I mean, all these performance indicators tell us that they got to go back to the drawing board and start to do the first things.
Glendy, you got a question for this, Mr. Salib, on the performance indicators?
So I like everything that he has said. I like that.
I could see the question in your face. I'm a very
what I want to say, Dennis, is this is commendable. Because we are now free to discuss a government who has been in power for 30 days. When we had a government in power for 6 years, we're even free to talk freely and openly. So this is commendable that Liberians are free to just bask after JMB. Well, let me finish. I'm just saying, yes, we have to look backwards.
Okay.
This is a huge accomplishment.
Remember Lot's wife now.
Say that again.
Remember Lot's wife.
Yes, I'm just saying, this is a huge, I'm not going to turn to a pillar of salt, but it's true.
Because you're looking like.
The fact that we can look back and see where we've come from to where we are, I appreciate it. And I'm going to be, and I supported JMB candidacy because I did not want a George Weah, and he was the only one in the second round if it wasn't Weah. So, but that does not mean that I'm not going to be objective. I think everything he has said is on point. I think when we're giving these criticisms, they should be listening to be able to reshape and regroup to do better, because the Liberian people asked for change and they promised change. So some of these things, while it may be highly critical of this 30 days government, I think it's a good thing that people are free to express themselves and to point out the things that they are not doing right. I have no qualms with what he has to say. I share some of those same things with people that were performance. I also was well against with the fact that that what's his name, that the vice president traveled on a private jet when people have been complaining about Weah. So some of those things he shared, they're not. I mean, they're open.
But Glendy, you said people were not free to criticize Weah. We did it here 24/7.
Yeah, but at the level I wish we did it. Let me add a caveat. We're doing it, and I think there is to some degree that JMB is hearing. And so because there have been some errors, there have been some mishap with the press secretary with announcements. So when you correct, they go and correct, and those are things that they speak about. So the fact that in this government now you've had 3 press conferences from a press secretary, that's commendable. And they've been able to listen.
And also locally. And also,
I think we were talking about Weah all the time, but what happened? We talked until our faces were blue and nothing happened. Nothing. And now you're seeing that some things that's happening. It's a good thing that we can talk.
Hold on, let Duke come in before you. Duke, but
Yes.
it's the same question I'm asking here now. When it comes to all these, what you say? Is he up to a good start or a bad start?
Very bad start. And sometimes we I don't know, intentional or unintentional.
Is it redeemable? Is this situation?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
At least my heart calmed down.
But Dennis, look at the fiasco that went on with Prophet Key. It should not have happened. We've been here before. You would have thought we learned from it and we would not let it happen again. But we revisited it and look at how it all unfolded. That shouldn't have happened. I wanted to say something about Liberia's um, foreign uh, foreign. I don't want to say. I mean,
Foreign mission.
there is no Liberian foreign mission that is not in areas in rent, in salaries, or there is not a single place where there are Liberian on bilateral scholarship that their stipends are up to date. These are some of the things that I always and the reason why I'm big on this issue. I was once one of those who were affected, and I saw and I felt and I lived what it means to be in a foreign land that you have nobody, to be caught up in a lack of organization, lack of funding. So we need fundamental change, and the changes that we are asking for is to go away from the status quo. It's about time that we bring in Joseph Boakai. Like I said, that's why I said something can be done. I don't think it's all lost yet. But for these things to be happening, they are holding back some of the things that's supposed to be happening. I mean, like, look at how even here in our own debate here, we are bogged down into things like, what happened with Prophet Key, the armed forces women. These things, we've been there before. They should have been dealt with, and they should have been over. Why are we revisiting them? Because of the way we govern ourselves, because of the way we go about resolving our issues. So we keep putting bandits on them. If we keep putting bandits on them, well, they're going to flare up, and then we're going to have these chaos every so often. So again, Dennis, I always say to you, we need someone who is going to be gutsy. Just do the unconventional thing, no matter the criticism. If it's the right thing, do it.
Thank you, Mr. Lassa. You are shrinking in your seat. Is it? What symbolism is that?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, I wanted to come in. You told me to hold on the hour.
Yeah, so,
I have been waiting for him too since 5 hours ago. I have the feeling right now he's working against me.
So Jimmy, go first, and then
Mr.
Yeah, so we are discussing a very good government in the light of making it to look.
What are the indicators, Jimmy?
Much worse than it is. You have a government in which the head of the first branch of government is a man of questionable character.
What are the fruits? Tell us the indicators.
The indication. Well, again, President Boakai has declared his assets and has repeatedly, as a matter of pronouncement, almost at every opportunity he has to do public engagement, has raised the issue of accountability and transparency and corruption.
Right.
And
what are the concrete steps he has taken in that direction?
He personally has declared his asset.
But he didn't publish it. I want you to mark that he has not published.
But at least he has declared first. Now here's a code of conduct, Dennis. I have the code of conduct.
Okay, we had said that same thing, so I don't want to read that code of conduct now.
No. We are. They didn't say the same thing. Not at all. We
have published and didn't declare it, so we didn't know what how much.
Never a time that Boakai has spoken about.
Emmanuel Yakpa will declare his, and he put it out there, and we could see it.
Okay, sure. So it shows that because Boakai has done it, it has given free hand to his officials to follow his example. But if we didn't do that, nobody will follow that. Nobody will go contrary to that, Dennis. So that is a policy by pronouncement, in a way.
DeLong
Of
declared
course,
before the president. But
who
go
declared
ahead.
before the president?
Darius DeLong.
Well, yes, I agree that within the time frame allowed by law, and the president did it within the time frame allowed by law. I don't know that they were supposed to be comparing notes as to which particular day they will have to do it all together. But Dennis, you are right. You are right. There is a conspiracy here among the officials of government, all of whom we are letting go only because we want to focus on a very, very old man with a clean character and a good vision for the country. You have Amara Kone, who came in the place and said they were going to audit the Senate. And long before he got seated, he said he was going to declare his asset and publish it. Same thing with the Fonati Kofa. All of those, you're not talking about them. These guys are giving lip service to the important call for asset declaration and publication and transparency. All of them, Nathaniel McGill, all the important people, Musa Ability, but they are the ones on all the social media going around and criticizing Boakai when they are simply doing that to deflect the whole issue, the burden for themselves onto the president. I will not be among those who are doing that. I know better. I know better, and I do know that President Boakai is doing pretty well in the given circumstances in which he finds himself.
Mr. Mabo, you have a question for Jimmy, or you have?
I do. Thank you very much. Finally, oh my goodness.
No, let me. I can read the faces because of my.
No. I actually, Dennis, there's something that my brother Jimmy said, and I really don't want us to leave it on the table. My brother Jimmy from the progressive community, I will urge him to get outside the echo chamber sometime and listen to other voices, right? He's crying wolf here and talking about the protest. The protest by the women was organized by the city. I'm not a sedition. I supported Alice Cummings in this going election, so just for full disclosure. But to say that, this thing was orchestrated and organized, because these kind of murmurings, they have the potential of crystallizing into real serious policy. I know Jimmy has far-reaching contacts in his government, so I wanted to really admonish him to slow down with that crying of wolf. What happened with the defense minister was a classic anatomy of failure. The vetting process failed us. Yes. The confirmation process failed us. The crisis was brewing. The security sector failed us. Everybody for up and down the line failed us. This had nothing to do with anybody planning anything. This government shooting itself in the leg. So I want to
it doesn't negate the fact that it took a lot to organize that, to get the logistics, the financing, and the planning. It was widespread across the nation.
Let me just ask something quickly.
Hold on, Mr. Salim. I want Mohammed to come in before you.
Well, I wasn't done either.
Yeah. Oh. But you said it took a lot. Does it mean because they planned it well, so it overwhelmed President Boakai?
Exactly.
Because it did that, it means that there were much more invested into that other than just
that he was blindsided on. Is that what you have implied?
It meant that there is more than just the ordinary.
And this is the reason. This is the reason for the Band-Aid method that we've been using from year to year, like Dukley tried to talk about. When these things come up, instead of address them as an administrator, as an administration, somebody say, "Oh, don't pay attention to them. Those are all politicians." Maybe it's some people coercing them to do that. Maybe it's the CDC that's planning it for them. So don't pay attention. No, when these issues come, address it so that it doesn't repeat in the future. Instead of taking everything as political.
So I wanted to throw in something on the audit and the transparency.
I want Mohammed to come in. So finish quickly. Mohammed,
talking about the audit, besides all the other audits that are outstanding from the inaugural committee to everything else, we're talking about the private jets and all of that. The president went to Ghana on a plane that is not a commercial flight. The vice president went all over the place. Now we're hearing there is an officer in charge in this government who is renting a vehicle for about $125 to $200 per day. And this has not claimed the attention of this government. When are they going to say something about it? When? Where did they get $125 a day for someone to rent a vehicle? Is that a transparency that they promised us? I just wanted to ask that question.
And Mohammed, this transparency, the president keeps saying, declare your asset. There's no business as usual. We're going to audit. We're going to have a forensic audit. We're going to audit. But the low-hanging fruit is the inaugural money that didn't reach the sign-off.
Yeah. Not to borrow either.
Yeah, look, Dennis, I have, when you and James Lassard knows this, when you're writing for, and you all, I mean everybody, as scholars here, great people, when you are asked to present a paper, you start with your thesis, and so tonight, I didn't hide where I was on the issues, and I'm glad that a lot of the colleagues are panelists are coming around to this, with the exception of Mr. Lassa. So the thing here is that they are slow walking this administration, and so my expectation was not to put in, when you move from George Weah, my expectation was not George Weah 2.0. My expectation was you go away from everything that was George Weah. You are the anti-George Weah. Somebody mentioned private jet. Why are we talking about private jets now? Why are we talking about presidents traveling in secret? These are the things that George Weah did. Yeah. And that's why we booted George Weah out of office. Somebody also mentioned about, I think it was Reverend Salif mentioned, the AU conference. You are the president. You just got inaugurated as the president of the Republic of Liberia. You go to the AU conference. You go out there and talk on behalf of Liberia and lobby on behalf of Liberia and lobby on behalf of your country. Connect and network with other African leaders and make your contribution. Your country is very important within the milieu of that organization. But you stay home and send the foreign minister who's still learning on the job, by the way. So these are my disappointments.
Thank you.
I don't know, but you have to know that Liberia owes millions of dollars to the AU. When he goes there, they will know already that he's from a country that cannot even afford to pay its due. And
so what do you do?
That shouldn't be an excuse. He had just
hold on, Salif. I want to hear James' side. So what do you do? You send somebody else, or you just
sending the foreign minister was not a bad idea at all.
It was a bad idea.
What? Tell me, you can't even afford to pay millions of dollars for years.
It was a bad idea. This is the reason, right? The reason it was a very bad idea and it reflected bad on Liberia. President Boakai had just been inaugurated. All the African head of states did not attend the inauguration. Some of them were busy. So this was his debut into the AU. He would have gone there and he would have been officially and formally introduced as the newly elected and inaugurated president. That was his first official trip.
And that is true. And that is true. But
hold on, Jimmy. Jimmy is saying, if you don't pay your rent, don't let the landlord see you. You got to rent. But let me bring in our callers now. If you are listening, this is Friday Night Debate. The number is on your screen, 605-313-6004.
And I have to say that's a mischaracterization of my point.
But you can be looking at, this is AU.
No, that is a simplistic mischaracterization of my point. That is not fair to me at all.
But make your point.
I'm saying it is sufficiently disgraceful to not be able to pay due for your country for many years.
So what
as it is compared to a president sending a foreign minister to represent him.
That's why you go there to negotiate. Maybe they could pardon some of your debt. Go there and negotiate. Go there and make partnership. Go there and meet other people.
Dennis.
Yes.
James, I understand you're trying. Let me just be honest. But we have to be objective. I think that was a missed opportunity for President Boakai not to go to that conference.
Yes.
I think he should have gone. It was a major conference. Yes. He was just elected and inaugurated as president. For him to have sent his foreign minister, for me, was unacceptable. I think he should have gone to that conference because, like Ms. Remy Saliva is saying, everybody else from other countries were there. And to show face, even if he would have been there for a day, it would have been best practice for me for him to have shown up there. I don't think there's any defense in this one to say that it's okay for the foreign minister to have gone to represent him. If you're talking about cost, then he should have gone only for the day of the meeting and meet with dignitaries and return to Liberia. I think not going was a failure on his part.
It would have been better. It would have been better if he had stayed home. It would have been better if he had stayed home. And then they could give an excuse because of so and so in his country. But you did not go, but you're in Ghana. And the Ghanaian president is there. How do you explain
And your
that?
vice president is him.
Could I just add, Dennis? 1 second, Dennis. Could I just add this? So Boakai presence would have been so great. I mean, it's the only way I can say it, because Liberia has just had a transition that's rare in Africa, where the sitting president conceded while the ballots, the final ballots were still being counted.
Yeah.
You look at Senegal and all these other places, they're not trending in that same direction. So Boakai would have been, that is celebrated in Africa right now, and that will cement Liberia's place as this become a democracy now on the African continent.
Correct.
Right. And unless the president was not feeling well, but you can look at the AU conference just like witchcraft looking at holy oil. That is
What an analogy.
Where are you getting this?
I don't know.
Another
I will
one.
teach him that.
Another
I'm not
one.
teaching him that.
Dennis always have these.
Are you always used to be around your grandmom?
All right.
Seems like it.
Let me bring in our callers now. The first caller here, as you understand, is Mr. Evans Morris. Mr. Morris, you are live. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jai.
Too low.
The last thing you said was exactly the truth, and you hit the nail right on the head. The reason the president can't go to these major conferences is because of his health. And we have to acknowledge that. That was one of the reasons why people had apprehensions about putting Boakai in the presidency, because we know that his primary objective or his primary priority would be to get healthy. And that's why you saw that he went through the back door when the Ghanaian president had left to go to this major conference. He went through the back door to the main country to go seek medical help, and then lie about it and say he was going there for.
Evans, you don't know that for a fact, so you can say he lied, please.
The evidence points to that direction.
I don't want to say the president lied.
Okay, well, I say the president lied, but everybody was saying George Weah was lying on the platform. Nobody checked him, but fine. I will be respectful to our president. Mm-hmm. But my point here is we can't bury the lead. The reality is our president is not in good health. And as such, he's not going to be able to attend major conferences and major, engagements with his counterparts. So if we're going to sit here and say, the president made a mistake, it's not a mistake. It's the reality of life and death. The president has to take care of his health first before he can be able to do, his duties. And we have to admit that. So for me, I think there was a few missteps, but especially when it came to the AFL wise, I think the president actually handled that situation well, because you can't be heavy-handed. Sometimes the easy thing to do is to be heavy-handed because you think you have the power of the government behind you. And I think actually, I won't say capitulating, but I honestly, taking into consideration the magnitude of the situation and the sensitivity of the armed forces, it was the right thing to do to withdraw the nomination, to appease those, Army wives, and then recalculate and calibrate on how to move forward. So I think that was one of the good things that he did. He didn't perform with a heavy hand, and I think that will help him in the future. But thank you.
And we're waiting for that recalibration and the next step. There are too many callers here. Let me bring in Trogon Bayou. Trogon, if you thought I was going to miss that, you miss it. Oh, sorry. Trogon Bayou, go ahead. One minute each, guys. All right.
Yeah, that's fine. Good evening, everyone. The question you asked at the beginning of the show, Dennis, that's a very interesting one. So when President was campaigning, he said something that everybody didn't pay attention to him because they wanted to vote against him. He said, Mr. Boakai has no accomplishment in life. So how can such men rescue the country? Okay, when President Boakai got elected, the first thing he did, instead of staying in the country to form his government, he left and came here to the United States and took vacation before starting job. And when he came here, he did nothing substantial to show to the Liberian people, but to sit in the house with Senator Wallace watching football game. Then some of us started taking note whether this man would actually be a competent president. So now we're seeing that he did for the first 30 days, no accomplishment. All we're seeing is total incompetent and non-productive.
Thank you.
I mean, we started seeing that he's still taking 30 days to form government. He's going to take 90 days to form a government. When will he come up with his 100-day deliverables? So we are watching. I know this. I got 1 minute. I'll get up over time, so I'll just stop right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go to Monica Johnson, if that's the name. We're talking about the 30 days of President Boakai.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Jah.
Your name, please.
This is Eric Talo calling from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Go ahead, Mr. Talo.
Thank you to your panel. I want to tell them thank you. Some of them are really truthful Liberians.
Let's talk about the 30 days from your own perspective. Lead the panelists.
I know I'm coming there, but let me express it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Can
know
they
what,
press us now?
Even if you lost somebody and the person is doing wrong, you have to admit that. And most of them that on your show tonight, they are not seditious, but they are making it true. They are telling the truth, and I love that. Now, let's go to the 30 day. Boakai in the first place, Boakai began with lies. From day one up to now, Boakai is lying. Continue to lie over and over.
Oh, God.
The Bible says God hates lying lips. And
the Old Testament.
Yeah, the government will not succeed with the lie. They will not succeed. Take it from me. I'm telling you the truth tonight. The last thing I want to say is
no. Give the example of the lie. Which lie they told?
Well, the lie they told. He said, President, we are left about 40 million plus in the account. He went and he went the first, I think it's the state of the nation. When you're giving the state of the nation, he lied about it. Mm-hmm. Going to Ghana, he lied about it. He lied about a lot of stuff now. Putting people in place, taking them from there. He lied about all this stuff there. And one of the things I want for Liberian people to know before I leave tonight is that Joseph Boakai is disabled.
There you go.
He is disabled.
Please don't discuss medical condition here. No, you're not a medical person.
All right.
Yeah, don't go there.
I'm coming now, Mr. Jah. I'm coming. This man have early dementia.
Look at that.
No, Eric, don't go over this diagnosis.
That's the reason all the appointment that have been made that he is not aware of some of them.
Thank you. Thank you.
What kind of medical doctor are you?
Eston Wisse.
Sir.
Oh. Eston Wisse, go ahead.
And the rest, let me say hi to you and the rest of the panelists out there. Firstly, I want to start with the whole thing of President Boakai. One thing I've come to the realization of is how people, they tend not to read. When you read or you research, you will learn a lot. Look, not many people, because I can just deduce it from the way people speak about this president. Not many people know how many presidents in the world are 75 years or older. I'm challenging all of you following the platform right now to go on your whatever gadget you have, whether your phone, your computer, your tablet, research how many presidents in the world today are 75 years and older. And newsflash, the president of the greatest country on planet Earth, the great United States of America, is older than the president of the Republic of Liberia, President Joseph Boakai. So that should be your newsflash here. Then let me conclude on the sticky and the very controversial
the 30 days. What do you make of the 30 days? The Boakai 30 days.
Well, we are doing great. We are doing great. Initially, people said we were making appointments in a very, I would say the source, the slowest animal on the planet Earth. We're moving on like a slow, but now we have decided to update and we are moving a little faster. So I think we are getting there. You can't compare or less than 2 months old government with a previous government that ran for 6 years. They have to be patient, and the president is trying to tread cautiously. But let me conclude on the very controversial CQ and the topic of Prophet Key. This is my honest take, and it's going to be a little more controversial. Look, when George Weah was in power, his chairman for his political party, CCC, Moba Molu, made such an inflammatory statement about George Weah, and he claimed that he was under the influence of alcohol. He was intoxicated, for which reason he said, Weah said, Liberian woman X, Y, Z, I'm not going to repeat. But for the most part, if Moba Molu was lying, don't you think that the president then would have sacked him or opted to take him from there so the Liberian people can be, feel better and our women could feel better? But they left Moba Molu there and the procedure would, if nothing had happened, and Axel Batoga wrote a book about all the things.
What's your point? What's your point, Mr. Wise?
To counter that. So we want to be balanced in all our undertaking. In as much as we don't condone it, and thankfully, our president has never assured Prophet Key, and Prophet Key said it on T-Max station. He has said it on every platform. President Boakai has never assured him that he's getting a job, least to say making cultural ambassador. That is crystal clear. It is as clear as daylight. Prophet Key, when he did out of his own kind gesture. President Boakai has never assured him a job. So I want all of you all listening to not tie President Boakai's hand to Prophet Key. Prophet Key, if he doesn't receive the job, he has made it clear that if he's fine with him, he's going to live his private life, go on his farm.
Thank you. You gave Prophet Key too much providence. You gave him too much prominence, and enough of the Prophet Key thing.
No, it's not giving him prominence. It's just reality.
Yeah, but
whether we like it or not, this is controversial issue that has gained prominence over the time.
No, because
but I'm saying it to me that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm following closely, and a great show. I'm enjoying the show a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Let me go to
my brother.
Our serviceman, Mr. Houston Brooks.
Yes. Hello, Brother John, and to all the panelists. I'm back in the United States, finally back in Hawaii. I was in some hot spots. But anyway, in a quick minute, the 30 days of the Boakai administration, it just revealed one thing to me and one thing only. I think that the team was not already put in place before winning the elections. And what do I mean by that? It's like, yeah, in the United States, President Biden already had his, like, hey, we're going to send you for confirmation. You go to foreign ministry or you go to education. All the, the problems with the appointments here and there, they have shown that they did not already have a team set in place and ready to take over. Other than that, I think it's still a little too early. But I want to pick up quick on something that Sister Grandy said. Look, I don't know who his handlers are, but if the president was able to travel to Ghana, at least, come on, we're talking about the African Union. He should have made that trip. At least, like the sister said, for one day. The president cannot be everywhere all the time, but his handlers supposed to know these key conferences, these key presence that he needs to make, and he needs to manage his travel. But anyway, that's it. I'm back. I'll be following you guys more, and I'll get off and follow the show.
Thank you, and welcome back. Mr.
Thank you. Bye.
Mr. Aliyu Samba Kamara, you're live.
Yeah, thanks for allowing my number to go through today, Dennis. But when I listen to Victor, Sherry, and Dukley, usually I know exactly where they will come from. But what I must admit, though, is I have some fear. For the first 30 days, the way I've seen the government go, I have some fears. I honestly did not think that by this time, most of the ministries have not even had deputy and assistant ministers. I did not expect that. More importantly, some of the very more crucial entities in ministry are not occupied. Security is very important. I have not seen a deputy inspector for operations yet, a very important position in the government. the Attorney General, who is one of the last people that they're coming to confirm, should have been the first person to be confirmed. I would have expected that those around JMB and JMB himself should know the most important people in his government. And Attorney General is one of those very important people. And I'm surprised he's one of the last people to be confirmed. And I think from October to January, we're talking about 3 months at least. I expected at least 90% of the entire cabinet to be done right after his inauguration. But the thing though that I wouldn't apologize for, or Joe Boakai should not apologize for, is not going to OAU or whatsoever. You know, one of the mistakes we make is that people think that every leader should have the same style.
Correct.
Every leader have different style. Like that is where you work at, whatever position you have there. Whoever was there before you operated differently. The point is to get the job. Getting the job done is a major point. Now we're talking about these private planes.
I'll leave your time finish.
One second. Let's call the finance minister. Ask the finance minister how much he spent on a plane that the vice president is traveling on. Let's ask the finance minister how much went to the vice president.
I think he was invited by the Senate. So
okay, very good. If we can find out that, then we have an argument. But I understand for the information that we have, that the government have not spent $1 on our these trips.
Right.
So what is the point?
And that is most scary, right? If somebody carry your president free of charge, Judge will say, "Oh, he gave it to me to bring my morale." So that's
very good. You're very good at investigation.
So why were you calling our name? Because you just said the same thing we've been saying the whole time today.
But thank you, Aliyu. Let me bring in Charity Lanyon Yakun, the sedition from Fargo, North Dakota. Go ahead, sir.
Well, you can see it anyway. Reaction, sedition. Well, we have people who believe in the cause and the liberation through the political and intellectual, channels. No, you may use Madam Beslow to go and lobby and get connection.
Let's talk about the 30 days, Teddy.
You want to put one thing on? Yeah, all part of the 30 days. Will be the 30 days down. You can see all the lapses, all these huge mistakes. But yet people still want to be comparing this government with everything trustworthy and citizen government. We know we made some mistakes in the past, but we have respect for Liberia and Liberian people, and we carry on a lot of projects, and we're very, very keen to carry on the projects for Liberian people. But however, what I'm trying to say is that this government, unscrupulous government, they use Madam Beslow and others to go and lobby to bring money in the country for this government, but they will misuse this money, and that way I can see Madam Beslow be one of the first person to resign from this government based on integrity. But this lady got respect for her and she had ambition. So I can see these people will resign from this government, and we citizens, we're not going to go in the street, but we are just watching to see, that our people themselves will get in the street. And when we start hitting this government, then we will see what an investor will really come to investment into Liberia.
God forbid. Thank you.
We're not happy. I says, I will wait for. I'm not trying to anybody here.
For the old man, I'm not strange to me that the old man cannot go and represent it in the country. All these things, we said it. We do preach, but we don't know how these United Partisans take no charge the minds of the Liberian people. And Peter Boakai have lied so much, a bunch of lies.
Thank you.
Say, oh, he will be able to be the best leader.
Thank you, Terry.
Impeachment. Impeach this government soon as possible. That's the only way Liberia will be better. But we see this government keep proceeding this way. It's wrong for the future of our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go to Darling Warwood. Darling, you're live.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So then first, let us make this correction. Boakai government has not been in power for 30 days. Boakai government has been in power for 90 days. From the night that Mr. Weah conceded up to the time Boakai was inaugurated in the office, that was 2 months. Those 2 months, Mr. Boakai should have used those weeks to form his government. But instead, he was running around in America from one coast to another coast,
doing nothing, watching football game or whatsoever with Stanton Weatherspoon in New Jersey. Mr. Boakai, like we came on the show after he was announced the winner. Mr. Dennis, you asked all of us on the show, so what are your expectations? And I told you that I had zero expectation because I do not have any record of Joe Boakai being a problem solver. There is no history, no record anywhere where he solved problems. So I had zero expectation. And I told you I was more worried about the days ahead. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
And so for us to sit here tonight and think that some Boakai was coming to perform magic, where are the records? No records.
Thank you, sir.
Boakai, he compete on rescue. He compete on rescue that you're coming to rescue the country. Before he became president, we had emergency everywhere in Liberia. There were red light flashing everywhere. By the time he became president, automatically no emergency disappeared. No more emergency in Liberia. Joe Boakai has been president for 90 days. He has not signed a single executive order up to present. Up to tonight, he has not signed a single executive order. Yet this man said our country was in a dire situation and he was coming to rescue us. And Joe Boakai supporters are telling us today that we should be patient.
Thank you, darling.
Yesterday, you just told us that we're in emergency situation.
Thank you.
Why people in emergencies and you are asking to be patient? How do you tell people in emergency to be patient? Somebody is bleeding to death and you tell them to be patient?
Thank you.
Danny, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let me bring in Flomo Livingstone, second to the last caller. Flomo.
Yeah, I mean, great show. Look, the president invited this. I gave it A.
Hey.
They'll be doing a great job. I don't know how and people forcing President Boakai being office for 90 days and you don't push back. Well, we tell our youth, like, who's spraying lies? You are inaugurated by the Constitution on the 22nd. From the 22nd to the 22nd of February, that's 30 days. I don't know what kind of math is that. The only physician can consider ourselves a math. No, the president, I'm glad the president did not go to the African Union. All right? It's like job. Today I listened to Every Snow. Every Snow. He said the Lebron government will go to the African Union, the airport, 20 million plus. In our deal, we haven't paid them. How embarrassing would it be go stand there and talk to them to talk about what you owe? You're not in good standing. They're not even listening to you. That's how bad the CDC government was. They just sold the country for nothing. They sold the country for nothing. 20 million plus.
Thank you, Flomo.
You can't pay all your obligations. What type of financial republic we have?
Thank you.
I mean, we're glad that we rescue this country for the people. And GMP is doing the right thing. Again, it is the president agenda, not our agenda. We might not like it the way the president do it. And Mr. Jah, please, let us check on the executive mansion before we speak on things. No, the president hasn't been changing and there are some rumors going around there. There are two names that is not there. If you currently go to the executive website and check, those names are there, it hasn't been changed. So people are just spraying lies. We should be going to the executive mansion and check before we speak on things.
Thank you.
And the president will succeed, and no country will succeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, wasn't he supposed to be on tonight?
Our last caller will be Thomas Kane. Thomas, go ahead, you're live.
Thanks to everyone. Very good show. I just wanted to.
It's hard to talk.
I mean, on the issues that you.
Come on, let me talk.
Because Thomas never started before. What happened tonight?
On the policy front, we have policy action, and it could be that even if you don't want to take the policy action, you could just call for a suspension of some things and ask for investigation. So on the policy side, not much has happened. I think much of the focus is on the forming of the government. Again, on this side, we've seen a lot of we've seen some movement. We're trying to increase the number of appointees that are entering the government, and this is one thing I actually wanted to speak on. Every time I think about these appointments, my mind goes to Dr. Duke, where he always says on the show that after election, the cabinet is often a thank you cabinet. But even as the president appoints the thank you cabinet, I think attention needs to be paid to what are the rules and responsibilities of people when they go into these positions. And my attention for me over the past couple of appointments has been drawn to this role of the deputy for administration. You have deputy for administration, you have assistant for administration. I think there is this notion that if we can find a place for you on the technical side, we appoint you either as a deputy for administration or we appoint you as a assistant for administration. And these roles are very critical in those ministries, agencies, and commissions. Because the deputy for administration in every institution is in charge of human resources, is in charge of procurement, is in charge of logistics, is in charge of maintenance, and everything. They are really the engine of these ministries and agencies. If the administrative unit does not work, the technicians don't do their work because you will not have stationaries, you will not have fuel, nothing will happen. So if we are just appointing people to go and sometimes it is their first job in government and they are going to learn on the job, I agree there are civil servants that are there. But there will be some friction with these experienced civil servants who you bring these people that might not have a lot of experience to preside over them. So why I appreciate the president for the appointment and congratulate all the young people that are entering, I will really encourage them that when they get to those positions, let them read and familiarize themselves with the public financial management law, the procurement and everything. If not, there will be some problems with delayed actions or they might take some actions that will get them into problem. So I think this is something I really wanted to highlight. Policy-wise, not a lot of movement. The government is being formed. And then all the other issues are being discussed. Thank you very much.
But Thomas, why you think I've not gotten a call?
I think it's because they have not reached to sign off.
So my experience and expertise only belong in sign off?
I've always said you want to be sign off superintendent.
Yeah.
And he just appointed a superintendent for Moderator. He's not going. So let's see when he gets to sign off.
Because the chairman wanted to be the managing director, they didn't give it, but they gave him something else. But anyway. Because
yeah, so he will not supervise the president that got appointed.
Okay, but thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the callers we have tonight. You like the show, right? I can see the glow in your faces.
It was good.
Gladys, what's your response to the callers?
I think it was good. I mean, people will still be people. There are people still thinking that George Weah did excellent. So I think it was a good show. It was except for Mohammed, it was pretty mild. Mohammed came blasting.
Two things I would say to the callers. Two things I would say to the callers. Number one, everything everybody on the panel here is saying is not because they are against JMB or his administration. The reason we're speaking the way we're speaking is because we want them to change course so that they can do better. The only reason George Weah lost this election was because he did not listen to his constituents. When people were talking, they just didn't listen, and that's what cost him the elections. And so we just want JMB and his team to listen, retract, reinvent the wheel, do something new, and start to move forward. That is the reason we are doing what we are doing. Now, the second thing I have forgotten, maybe you want to come back to mine.
I want to respond to two callers and one audience member, Dennis.
Sure.
I want to respond to Mr. Livingstone. I'd like to know why it is that he's not here with us tonight, because he pledged to be on the panel with us this week. I also want to respond to Mr. Mohammed. He came and called us a couple of names and then went on to say exactly the same thing we just said. So I don't understand what his beef is.
You're talking about Alio?
Alio, yes. Alio. In the audience, I want to channel Mr. Wallow again. You know, the UP government, they just had another bad week. You know, hopefully they will have a better week next week. This week should have been the better week from the week before, and the week before should have been the better week from the week before. But, you know, we understand they had another bad week. So hopefully there's a better week coming ahead.
Mr. Father Washington, your response to the caller, and then we can...
Yeah, I mean, just 3 callers, for me, what's his name? One of our panelists already on the show. What is his name?
Comment?
Aliyu. I mean, I was shocked when I heard what Aliyu said because he was one of those before even the elections. He was already telling us that he was an insider. He knew exactly what the Boakai was going to be doing. So for him to tell us on the show that he's scary, and he even added that he thought Boakai should have known that even appointing a justice minister should have been the first thing. Do you want to say people who argue on this show that this man has 40 years of public experience? He knows everything. He's been in government before. So why are you not coming back and telling us that he should have known? When we said that there's nothing in his record that showed that he was a reformer and that he was going to change things, you can't argue that it was in there. Everything was in the arrest. But the same thing, what is Nick calling into also? You were one of those on this show who keep on arguing that Boakai knew everything. It was in the arrest and he had said it. Then also, what is the thing we said, I don't know, you talked about Boakai's age and he was comparing that of the president of the United States. I didn't see the point he was making. I didn't see any point that he made. He talked about Prophet Kitu. I didn't see the point he was making. So I just thought that he just called on the show to probably just so that was nothing. So maybe he said that we need to respond to.
Thank you. If you have not already done so, please go to Focus on Liberia to get your notification because you don't want to miss Friday night debate and other very important shows. So if you get to our page, click on the live video, click on the word followed in the feed, and then select the first option, which is all live notification. That way, you're going to get notification. We've been struggling with our people are not getting our notification. So please help us pass the message and let people get notified that when we are on. By far, this is
Dennis, please drop that in the chat room so we can put it on our status. Yeah,
this is the best since 1847, and there is no dispute. Well, thank you so much. We have gone 30 days of JNB administration. I want us to go around the room now for our closing to don't just describe how bad things are, but give us a little hope as to what can be done to move the country forward. Let me start with Mr. Dukley.
Yeah. Before I can make any further comment, I would like to say tonight I was really surprised how candid Ali was tonight, because like Brother Washington was saying, prior to Joseph Boakai winning, he was so ardent in his support and how well. But I was also surprised tonight the way he spoke. He was very candid, admitting for the first time that I've ever seen him admit that there was some thing that he expected to go a certain way and it went another way. So I haven't seen that for a long time from Aliyu. So I think was it last week? There was some, I think the DEA arrested there was some bust of drug thing somewhere in Monrovia. I think that was commendable. And I still think that there are things that they can right, despite the faux pas they've had in the beginning. But it would require some heavy lifting from Joseph Boakai. And I think as much as he's beholden to a lot of forces to which he must comply, I think he will have to make some very difficult decisions in order to right the slow and faux pas that he's done so far.
Thank you. Mr. Laza.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Look, let me just say, first of all, that I couldn't agree with you more when you just said that Focus on Liberia is certainly the best in the country. A simple evidence of that is just your last round you did, even though you have 7 panelists here, you only chose a few to hear from them after the questions and left the rest of us, and there was no grumbling about whether it's my turn or no, he left me out, and all the kind of stuff. We just left here and we are moving on. That is a serious sign of maturity and professionalism, and that's true, So I have to say that. But look, in terms of the VP, President Boakai, I have to say that I am certainly.
And then did he respond?
Yeah, a few of us, yeah. So President Boakai, he is doing pretty well under the given circumstances. He has given directive. I've heard other people saying, oh, since he came, he has not made any policy statement or policy decision. He did issue an order out, a number of orders. A key one pertains to the General Services Agency, where all of government properties, assets cannot be accounted for or even can be clearly stated to have been taken by force or stolen by outgoing government officials. And we have the outgoing head of that agency, Mary Bro, who has been wrong for the view as a competent person, when in fact she's one of the least competent Liberians we can find around, ineffective, who couldn't even keep inventory of government assets, so that if she can come and say, oh, no, I'm afraid to ask deputy ministers and minister for cars because everybody in this country has guns, I don't want to die. But where is the list of properties and to whom you assign them so that we can go collect? She doesn't have the list. But she was doing double dipping, taking pay as Director General for GS and also taking money from the Liberia Electricity Corporation, $17,000.
Still serving those roles, right?
Let me tell you, Janice, I recommend to focus, to begin to have programs on how we can hold other people accountable instead of just focusing on this is our grandfather who is president with a clean record and having vision. Let us look at people like Amara Kone, Fonanti Kofa, Musa Belete, Natana Magi. These are people who are criticizing Boakai, but they are not talking about asset declaration or publication. They are not talking about transparency. They are unsanctioned. We need to have programs where we can ask people like these on this show today about their own ideas of how we can begin to inject our own voices to hold these people accountable so that the leadership of the government can be much smoother and successful as we go forward. But look, I will urge the government, if there is anybody here, because I'm not close to anybody in the government, I only know Boakai. I met him doing campaign. My job was to help him. I spent quite a good bit of money to get him elected. I'm not looking for a government job, but look, but the government, I'm saying like Dennis.
No, I say how much you spend, just transparency, that's all.
Well, I was running my campaign, and it did seem like whenever I was running my campaign, I was running a double campaign for myself and for Boakai. So that was significant. I can say that.
And more wait, did you run for office in this gun cycle?
That was exploration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how much did you spend?
I haven't lost election before. Whenever I have run for election, I have won. But look, let me say this to anybody who is close, who has the ears of the administration. Let Boakai make sure to appoint the ombudsman. That is important. We need that. Ombudsman. We need that. Other than that, we'll give a lip service. Let Boakai publish the assets. And also let Boakai find a way to get the Martin Kekula colleague. That man has a voice. It was a heavy lift for him to fight my classmate, the foreign minister. He wasn't wrong. He had all the right points. He just couldn't win that. And we cannot allow the young man to go into silence. He has to reach out to that man and bring him back, because this is a honeymoon period. 100 days after that, he might lose some of us. Because
what you mean? You know what you say is very important.
Loyal to the country. Some of us are loyal to the country, not to personal government. So you got a honeymoon. If you lose the opportunity, you're going to have us on the opposite side. That's my warning to them.
Yeah, Jimmy, I want you to explain that. It's very important to me. What do you mean that he should go to Colley and bring him back? Where is Colley?
He has to give him relevancy, because Colley brought up issues against
give him a job. That's what you mean?
Yeah, man, Dennis, that's not what I mean.
Yeah, I'm pushing you.
It does seem like the advocacy that Martin has led has been successful and vibrant, but that voice has become silent since.
Maybe he's compromised. So
no, he's not. Since the confirmation of the foreign minister, where his voice will be arguably made successfully.
Oh, he was let down by the administration, so he's lukewarm.
And even the Senate committee, Martin wrote the Senate committee to give him just 30 minutes or 10 minutes so that he could be heard. He wasn't granted that. I'm glad that my classmate was confirmed, but I do believe that Martin has a good case. He has a good fight for that country, and we need him.
Thank you.
We need Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Nabe. I'd like you to always come after James.
Yeah,
and
you do that on purpose?
No, thank you very much. Great show. Thanks also to the audience. I read some of the comments. I just wanted to say that we are hoping for this government. We're rooting for them. They should understand that they don't own the government. The government is not their property. It is our government as well. So they are just the leaders leading us, but we have a vested interest in everything they do because whatever they do affects all of us. And so we'll continue to help them by pointing out where we think they can make improvement. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to point out where they need to make improvements. So this president came in, he announced he would set up the economic crime court. It was only briefly mentioned in his speech. We haven't heard a thing about it. He came in, he was thinking about audit. Now Hassan Musa Belete is calling for actually an audit of his own performance because according to Belete, he has over $60 million at his disposal, which I think is 1/12 of the budget that President Weah, left him. And that money has been available to him. Now, in addition to that, he's requesting another $40 million. That's $100 million. You know, he has to actualize this thing that he's talking about. Where is his transparency? Let him tell us what he did with that money before he makes additional requests. I heard other people talk about, auditing the inaugural committee. I'm sure that's just going to be another, soundbite. It's going to go down the drain. So they have to say what they mean. I read some of the comments he made at the commissioning ceremony. He said they mean what they're saying. Yeah, well, we want to see them put that into real action. So, we're rooting for them and we'll continue to call them out, whether they like it or not. That is what they chose when they contested for office. And so we wish them well. We think they have a good role ahead of them. But they're really starting on a very, very wrong footing. Hopefully, they will quickly. We've been hoping for this. It's 30 days going in now. They still haven't realized yet that they're going the wrong way. They're going in the opposite direction. They need to change
In the
course.
program, Nelani, if you listen, you hear me.
So they need to change course and come back to reality. What they're doing is less than what the previous government even did, and we expect them to do better than they're doing. And we know they can do better. Thank you very much. It was a great show.
Thank you. Wendy, you're closing. And we
So
talk
it
about the
was
30 days and the way forward.
I think it was a good show. I would hope that the president ears are out through his press secretary, monitoring some of these shows and hearing the concerns of Liberian people. I think that would be good so they can take in some constructive criticism. See, they still have time to reshape. We will hope that by day 60, the government would have been formed because they will have 40 days left for deliverables. We're looking forward to all of that. I want to say that Liberia deserves better. And I think we've come from a government where things were all helter skelter. It is now time to reshape the course, and each Liberian has a responsibility to be objective, to be able to want better for their country, and not and do away for a little bit away from partisan politics, because that's not going to help us. I think the more we are objective in pointing out what some of the ills are of this government, the more they will focus and they will redirect their course. So we're looking forward to that. We also hope, me not being like bro, would hope that there will be a great connectivity with the people in the diaspora, because I think to some degree they also help JMB win this presidency. So the government should not ignore people outside of Liberia. They should do whatever they can to be able to garner people from Liberia, put them together, and also see maybe people who want to be able to vote in the next election. We should be able to vote here if we wanted to. But we're looking forward to better things. We'll continue to talk. In the show today was just very civilized. Let me just say, maybe it's because Game-Man is not here.
You look for him, you fall down himself.
You're right. You're right.
It was just so. I mean, it was nice.
Thank you. Let me go to Father Washington. You're closing.
Let me say it's been a healthy exchange. I think that's the purpose of this show is to always provide education for our people. And before this government came to power, I was one of those who I was a little skeptical about Boakai. I like the person. I like its lifestyle and what he has achieved over the years. But then after 1 month, I'm beginning to also begin to think that he's not a leader. I'm getting to the thing that he's not a leader. He's not leading this country. And, I think he's best when he follows than when he leads. Because when I look at some of the things he's doing, I'm getting the impression that, hey, he keeps talking about the fact that we will lead by example. We mean what we say. But his action does not commence with what he says. And that's my fear. And that's what I think that he's not going to lead this country in the best thing that in the best way that we want. If you say you're laying by example, the first thing I expect you to do, declare your assets, publish it, and then call everyone else following you. Say, hey, I gave you the timeline, follow what I just did. If you say you're leading by example. If you make a policy statement, say, hey, all those who keep a government car, make sure that the cars are returned. There are people who stay up to today who are staying only onto government cars. And and there's no action taken. But he keeps saying that, I'm leading by I will leave an example. I mean, it tells me that he's very weak and he's not able to lead this country. That's my fear. That at the end of the day, people will just kind of keep pushing him around, and at the end of the day, they will keep making these decisions. The second thing I want to talk about is a few days ago, I watch a program from Ghana, and our vice president was on the program at Joe FM. He had gone to Ghana. I think he was taking his flight from Morocco. He had to stay in Ghana for a few hours before he booked his flight to Liberia. He was on this Ghana television. He was wearing his slippers and he was wearing his suit. But hey, he had gone to Ghana in the past. He said he had I think around 20 years ago, he had gone there from Liberia to Togo to make business. And there was a time they were going for their business trip, and then some armed robbers came and robbed them. But people thought they were the armed robbers, so they put them in jail. He was in jail for 4 days. I'm like, what kind of guy is there? You're going to Ghana. I mean, this has happened in the past. Then he said the police guy who helped him while he was there, who freed him, he has gone to look for this guy. So he had the guy on the television, on the live television. And he was saying that he was in prison and this are happening, and they wanted to take the money. They were in the bush. They wounded some of his friends who are gone to him because they are gone to Boakai in Togo. Then I'm like, if you come to see this guy because he has helped you, do you have to come on national television to say this as a vice president of our country? Are you sitting there in the slippers and you're on national television? Are you kidding me? If some of you guys have the time, go on YouTube. The ticket's on YouTube. Joe FM. He was on there. He was there for like 30 minutes on our show. And they were calling him Jeremiah. The guy was calling every time. It was Jeremiah. And I'm like, you guys is serious? And the last thing I would like to talk about, Glendy, today I was watching Spoon TV, and you asked a brilliant question to Senator, I think one of the representatives about the microphone they were using there. That you were advocating that they should be able to buy a microphone and don't be passing it. The next time you have the time to ask any of them, tell them the next time we have an operation, they should buy motorbikes. They should not go to Ghana again and borrow motorbikes. They should buy and keep it. Please.
I wanted you to end with, so how we move forward.
How we move forward?
And not to put in your plug for Spoon TV, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, probably I shouldn't have, but
Dennis, in all fairness, every Friday when I'm there, I always put in the plug for this because Tinta always says, "Where are you going?" I'm going to my show here on Focus, so it's fair.
I mean, the way we move forward is
I didn't hear that today, so
accident, but most times he does.
The way we move forward is that if our president says, let him live up to what he says, and let actions be taken. If it's not done, let him prove to people that, hey, what I just said, I want to be done. And if you don't do it, I will take action. That's the way we're going to move forward. If you just say something just for the sake of people hearing what you're saying, nothing is going to happen because people want to see you taking action. I think that's the only way to move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Salif, or Pastor Salif.
Anyone is good. Thank you. It's a beautiful show, and I just have a few points I just want to touch on. Hopefully, I can do that in exactly a minute. Number one thing I want to say is that President Boakai needs to realize that elections are over. When he was running for elections, when he was running for office, he campaigned as the UP standard bearer. After the election, he became the president of Liberia. He's no more the president of UP. He's the president of Liberia. And from inauguration till now, 30 days, I've not heard any message on national unity, national, coming together, because the election was a close call, just 50 point something. So it's a divided country. And everything we got to do, we got to bring people together. And one of the ways we can do that is by at least making an effort to show an appearance of inclusion into the administration, and by bringing in other people from other parties and other places. We need that. It will help to balance and strengthen his administration, because he needs those contrary voices in his cabinet meetings, and not just all the people who will say yes to him. So he got to note that. So number two, I think the AU meeting was a missed opportunity, a serious missed opportunity, no matter how we say it, because that was his debut into the AU. That was when he's supposed to, if he couldn't go, the least we could have done was send his vice president. But it was a slap in the face of the AU, because other people were waiting. Even though we are indebted to the AU, it was not him who amassed the debt. He's coming in as a new administration, so he would have gone there and put his best foot forward. Listen, I know our country is indebted to the organization, but my administration, we will make sure between this period and this period, he would have made a strong statement or sent his vice president. But how do you feel that the person who's owing you, and you call for a landlord and tenant meeting, and the man refused to come, but he goes to another place and then send his wife to another place and completely ignore the meeting? I don't think that's how you treat people you are owing. So you should have gone there, made a strong representation instead of sending the foreign minister. So I thought that was a missed opportunity. But however, I will want us to give this government a chance. I mean, it's just 30 days. They still got a long way to go, 5 years plus to go. And I believe they still have time to recover themselves from some of the missteps that they've had so far. And let's just give them the benefit of doubt. But on a serious note, for the 30 days, if I'm grading them, I'll give them a C, at best C+.
Thank you. And Liberia, please, for the OAU meeting, we always want to see Liberia, right? Or the AU meeting.
Yeah.
As the oldest democracy in Africa, and also a founding member.
Dennis,
Sharif.
quickly, I forgot something. I'm sorry. Quickly, I want to give a quick shout out to Senator Dillon. I know he's a key member of the rescue train, but he has been very honest with this process, with where he's saying. I read his comments in Observer. I also want to give shout out to my own sister Glennie here tonight. I think it was a fresh.
What did Dillon do? I want to get that, because Dillon has not impressed me lately. But go ahead.
I'm not a fan. He's a flip-flopper, but I'm saying his assessment right now of the current process, he is expressing his own concern about how much mishap is happening with the process. So I think he's being very candid about it, even though he's a key member of the rescue train.
Right.
And you didn't let me finish my commendation on my own friend and sister Glennie.
No, because the Dillon thing, I wanted to get more clarification. Glennie one, I know.
And it's this can he change that man talking with good news
Thank you. I don't know what is wrong with this guy. He keep cutting me off.
Ready.
No, I wanted to say.
Tonight.
I wanted to say, even though my boy Jimmy here is still suffering from his tongue twister, but at least Glennie is able to say, you know what? I think there is some point to what you guys are saying, and I think I think we need to practice that. It will help the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will go play the lotto tomorrow.
You win. You know my number, so
yeah. So, Glendy, I want to add to that as well. Sometimes lately we've not agreed on the same. We've not been on the same path, but I respect your opinion. I mean, you've been balanced when you see it, the way you call it, and that's a patriotic duty, and I must commend you for that. And so, look, this administration, what this administration has had some unforced errors in the start. there was a catastrophic national security failure when you had this issue with the AFL wives. I mean, the guys in the AFL were behind that, we know. But where was the national security advisor? Where was the minister of state for presidential affairs? Where were the ministers of states without portfolio? All these ministers that you've appointed. Where was internal affairs in all of this? Where was the foreign minister? Where was the police director? Uh, these are your national security team, and it was a catastrophic failure from the beginning. The president didn't listen to them, and so it ballooned into what we all saw in the end. One thing I want to mention, James last up mentioned Amar a couple of times that these guys are on sanction. I don't think Amar is on sanction.
No, I didn't. I'm talking about McGill, what do you call, and the other guy. No, I didn't mean. I included Amara in the sense that he has, in recent past, publicly expressed passion for declaring asset transparency and accountability and audit of the Senate. When all of that has been now put in a back seat, he's no more talking about any of that. He hasn't published his asset. I don't even know whether he's declared it.
Right.
He's not even talking about. He's talking about, oh, what happened? We just let that go in the Senate. We don't need audit going to the future. All of you guys are just looking for a break.
Right. So, but if you lump them that way, you confuse your listening public, because he's not on sanction. McGill and others are. And if you're willing to give the president a chance, why don't you also accord the same courtesy to Amar Kone? So what we're doing now, we're saying, well, the president doesn't have to do this, but this one man, Amar, has to do all of this. And you said that if he continues to do this, he's not going to be any.
Mr. Sheriff, I encourage you not to get drawn in this internal union fight towards 2029. Don't get drawn into it.
The thing here is that we have to be balanced in our assessment. And the thing about this is that Boakai has had a lot of false starts, right? And this is a fact, and we cannot ignore that. He is the president. He ran for this position. He knew the challenges that it entailed, and he ran for president anyway. And all of the things that he promised to deliver, he has not delivered to the fullest. And all we're asking is, please deliver. And if you're not going to deliver, when are you going to deliver? The president hardly talks to the Liberian people. And so what we hear from the press secretary, which is why I commend the press secretary, is all that you're going to hear from Mr. Boakai. You don't even get any releases from the president. All these meetings that they have, you're not going to hear anything from him. And so this is not the leadership that I was looking for. I want a communicative president, a president who listens, a president who does not wait till stuff like the AFL wives get out of control. I don't want a president whose legal advisor is going to stand in front of the judicial process to say, I called to say drop the case because you don't bring that in our courtroom. That should be condemned. And Mr. Buchi Ben Keita I condemn him for such a thing, and that is unacceptable. And the Liberian women and men everywhere should be outraged by this. And so that's another false start. And so if Mr. Boakai is listening, any of his people are listening or watching, they need to make sure that they're listening to these things and do the right thing on behalf of the Liberian people.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for this time. Jimmy, this is not the TLA, so don't come back. But thank you so much. I think we have a good time here. And remember to always follow, watch, focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. I want to thank our viewers for watching, even those who will watch later. On that note, we're going to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Whatever grade you are giving President Boakai for his first 30 days, A, B, C, D, or no grade, we are all Liberians. What we need to do now is let's do our best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. And even if I don't get the job of a superintendent of Sino, I will still be doing my part because Liberia is all we got.
You're not getting that job.
All right, let's.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home.